I am very, very, very rarely worried about a guy moving in and trying to take one of the women that I'm dating. I'm polyamorous, I date multiple women, and there are constantly other men orbiting, trying to get into the relationship. And, most of the time, I like my women to want me, right? I want them to spend most of their time with me, simply because I am incredibly, focused on giving the women that I date my time. I want to put a ton of effort into them, and I want to make sure that's received. But there are other guys that are going to try and make a move, and, there's not really much that I can do about it if one of the women was like, hey, I really want to go and see this other person, right? I don't really have a leg to stand on to argue about it, so I absolutely understand. But likewise, when I was going out and trying to meet women back in the day, sometimes I'll be talking to a woman in a bar and then another guy comes up and tries to talk to her. And a lot of guys in these situations will get very, very nervous or concerned about, the person leaving them. And most of the time that doesn't affect me in the same way, simply because I know that most guys are missing one thing. They don't like putting effort in. And I know it sounds crazy, but the average guy out there just doesn't want to put anywhere near the amount of effort in to get a woman. What most guys will do, and this is the thing that actually frustrates me, is they'll put a lot of effort in at the beginning to try and prove they're interested, and then that effort disappears. And actually, this is something I got to see with my ex that I separated from a little while ago, where there was a guy that was putting in a ton of effort to try and get with her. And part of the reason why we decided to separate is because she wanted to explore a relationship with this person, which I was completely okay with, because at this point I had a whole bunch of problems in the relationship as well. And so we decided it was a great mutual decision for us to move on. Unfortunately, after a few months, this guy giving her lots and lots of attention once she was dating him, it stopped, and he stopped putting the effort in, and in fact he ended up moving to a different town, and that was it. Their entire relationship collapsed. And I know this because she reached out to me a little while later and was like, hey, I was wondering if we can hang out, and at that point I wasn't interested because I'd already moved on. And this is something that happens to women often. Guys are very, very willing to put effort in at the beginning of the relationship, and then after a while it peters out. And the reason I'm not really worried about someone I'm dating kind of losing interest in me is because the effort doesn't end with me. If I care about somebody, I'm going to continue to put that effort in forever. And the best dating coaches know this, that the key to a good relationship comes from sustained effort and energy over time. Now, does that get draining? Hell yeah, it does. Is that tiring? Heck yeah, it is. But if you care about the other person, the effort has to maintain. I can't tell you how many students I've seen that come to me and they'll be like, oh, my relationship's falling apart, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, do you go on dates? And they go, no. I was like, do you spend time with them? I'm like, well, I'm too busy, working on my business or playing video games. And they're always ignoring their partner to go and do these other things. But if you don't put continued effort into your partner, that relationship is going to end. So your job in a relationship is to maintain the effort. And then there are guys that, they'll meet me and be like, oh, you're polyamorous. How do you handle dating multiple women? I'm like, well, it's very simple. I take the same amount of effort I would put into a regular relationship and put it into lots of different relationships. The same amount of effort I put to make it sustain, to put the energy in, to help it out there. And that comes at an expense, right? It means that I'm not up to date with TV shows. It means that I don't see movies very often. It means that I do not play video games at all. There are a number of sacrifices that have to be made in order to make energy and effort to be able to maintain the relationships. But I prefer it. I would rather have an evening hanging out with Eve and cooking or listening to her talk about the garden or whatever it is that we're gonna do than do anything else on this planet. There is nothing else I would rather do. I would sacrifice every single video game that I have ever played to just spend more time with her, right? It's a no-brainer. So that's the key. In fact, I think my only issue is I don't get enough time with her because she's got other things she has to do, right? I would give her even more time if I could because she's so awesome. She's my favorite person on the planet. But she's got a job and kids and all these other things. But that's the key. The key is knowing that you have to put in sustained effort and it can't end. And so many guys don't get this. Now, another element is guys don't understand what effort is. So they think that effort is begging or doing things for somebody, right? They're like, well, oh, please can we date? Or, oh, let me do this for you. I'll do that for you. Or I do so much for you. They don't understand that actually putting effort in comes down to 3 simple things. It comes down to, number 1, spend quality time together. That means you and them spending time just together, doing things together. Number 2, laughing together. Laughter triggers a chemical known as oxytocin, which is the bonding chemical that is also released during sex. If you're hanging out with somebody and you two are laughing consistently, then that is going to start bonding you. And then lastly, you have to talk about sex. If you just do the first two things, you're just gonna end up being best friends. There has to be deep, intense discussions about sex and sexuality. And then if we add in that little element I spoke about, holding hands, which will help build up that escalation, you're gonna be fine. You're never gonna end up in a situation where you're kind of just friends and nothing's really going on. You're almost always gonna end up in a very sexual situation with somebody who is absolutely incredibly and awesome, and the effort continues. So you gotta put effort in, and remember the effort is quality time, laughter, discussions about sex, and holding hands. You do this and everything's gonna be great. Thanks for watching the video. I've got a very special gift that I'd like to give you as a way of saying thank you for taking the time to enjoy this content. This is an ebook that you can get completely for free by looking in the description of this video. Once you download it, it will actually break down the core natural qualities that make somebody so attractive that women chase you. So go there, click on the link in the description and grab that ebook now.